Hello and welcome back. This is Benjamin. Today we're going to be editing a terrestrial photo. This is from Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge in Delaware. This was taken in April. We've got a nice heron here with a nice scenic viewpoint. Some things that we're going to work on is this eagle. The eagle needs to come out. I don't like little spots in my images. And this freighter is going to come out. I guess it's a freighter, but it's coming out. So let's start editing. Start with the lens corrections, remove chromatic aberration, and edit profile corrections to correct all the distortion from my lens, which was a Tamron 2470 lens on a Nikon D850. Then we'll go to the basic tab. We're going to put the white balance as shot, and we're going to raise the exposure some because it's a little dark. We're going to watch not to blow out any highlights. So if you hold down the Alt key, you can see where you start blowing out highlights, where the color starts showing up. So okay, that actually did not very effective. So I'm going to raise the exposure just a little bit. Nothing's blown out, but it was a little bit too bright, obviously. Contrast we'll leave alone for the moment. Highlights will pull down a little bit. Shadows, I don't want silhouettes, but I don't want a lot of detail either. So we'll just raise the shadows just a little bit. Raise the whites a little bit, give it a little bit more pop, especially in this area. And then blacks, we will lower the blacks a little bit, raise the shadows a little bit more, just kind of fight against each other, trying to get a happy medium. Texture I always put up to about 15. Clarity I reduce a little bit to keep it a little less crispy in the details. And this is looking a little saturated, so we're going to, well, let's see. We're going to reduce the vibrance just a touch. Just -9, and saturation. Obviously we're working in Lightroom. That's where I do most of my editing. Switch over to Photoshop when necessary to do more cloning, but Lightroom's gotten pretty good with that. So that's where we'll leave it for now. I like to crop my images. I like to use standard ratios. This is going to be a 2:1, which is fairly standard. And I'm going to crop out all of the foreground distractions of the bushes and whatnot. I just don't like them. And I'm going to put it right about there where this white line is on the 1/3 line. Put it about there. And we'll take a look at that. I think that looks pretty nice, except for this reed right here, which we will clone out. Speaking of cloning out, let's go ahead and do that. Let's use the remove tool. First, let's check for spots on my lens, or on the sensor with the visualize spots tool under remove. And I don't see anything obvious except for right here, which looks like a bird. Right here we've got the eagle, and here we got the freighter. Other than that, it looks pretty free of spots, so that's good. So first we'll take care of that. Then we will take care of our eagle, and then we'll take care of our freighter, and then we'll take care of the reed. Alright, that looks good. So we'll go back to the editing tab. We'll go to detail. As a color mixer, I wonder what would happen if I increase saturation of my blues a little bit. Kind of like that, a little bit. Aquas, a little bit. Aquas aren't doing anything. Leave them alone. Greens don't do anything, leave them alone. Purple, leave that alone. Magenta, yeah, that looks terrible. Leave that alone. Red, saturation, bring it up just a little bit. Really make those clouds pop. Orange, take it down just 1. And then yellows, already pretty hot, so we won't touch those. Actually, we'll take them down 5. and detail. This was taken at ISO 250, so I get a 1/100th of a second exposure at f8. I needed to get my heron to stand still because he was moving around a little bit, so I needed a 1/100th of a second in order to keep the heron sharp, which he is nice and sharp. So I ended up bumping my ISO a little bit. I don't like doing that, so let's use the denoise tool in detail. Takes 20 seconds. This is the AI denoise integration, which is really nice. It takes a couple seconds. In this case, 20. Alright. That looks pretty good. In fact, it might even be a little bit too much. Let's reduce it a little bit down to maybe 35 from 50. Try to leave a little bit of grain in there, just a touch so it doesn't look smooth. Sharpening, I usually take my sharpening up to about 100. Radius up to like 1.2, detail up to like 45, and then masking, hold down the Alt key and mask away some of this. That looks good. We want to do anything with the color grading, shadows. Let's see what we want to do with shadows. Let's leave the shadows alone. Midtones. Bring the midtones up just a touch, and the color grading. And the highlights we're going to push up just a little bit in the color grading, and we're not going to add any color cast to it. We're just going to change these little sliders here at the that change the luminosity of the midtone shadows or highlights. I really like those. So now we will, let's see, add a bit of a vignette with the mask. So we will create a radial gradient. Nice and big. We will go up here and we will invert mask 1, and we will bring down the exposure a little bit. Get a nice little vignette. And in fact, I think that is too big. Huge picture, 6%. There we are. Let's see, it's got a little bit more vignette to it. That looks pretty nice. Like that. No, I don't actually. That looks way too much. So we'll use the amount slider and pull the amount slider down. Instead of changing the individual sliders for the exposure and highlights, which we edited, we use the amount slider here to just change the general overall. Something about right there, 78% of what I changed. And it is definitely too saturated the more I look at it. So let's go back to basic and pull the saturation down a little bit. I love the way it looks saturated, but it just looks a little bit too much for my liking. So we'll pull the saturation down to -2 from like +4. Some minor changes. And let's go into the masking. Let's create a new mask and a brush layer. Let's see what we can do with the highlights. Bring up the highlights a little bit in the water area. Just kind of make it pop a little bit more, the highlights. So I'm drawing on my mask right now, raising my highlights only. Do a little bit in the sky. And see, this is what we did. We did from there to there. It's very subtle, but I like it. I love the play of cool and warm in the water, where the warm and then where the water was reflecting the sky behind me, it was nice and blue, and then where it was reflecting the sky in front of me, it was very warm. So let's see, anything else I want to do? Don't want to do the effects, tone curve. Let's play with the tone curve a little bit. I honestly don't usually get too good a result with the tone curve, but that looks nice. Just very minor changes. Let's see what we did. Lighten up a little bit. That looks good. Go to basic. Increase the overall brightness a little bit. That looks good. We decrease the black level a little bit, give the blacks a little bit more definition. And now we play with the contrast. I think the contrast in the water looks good, but the contrast in the sky doesn't. So let's go to the masking tool, and let's create a new mask. And let's just select the sky. Let's see what it does. Okay. Let's increase the contrast in the sky. Ooh, no. Let's try the dehaze in the sky. It's interesting. We definitely need to feather this sky mask. So let's go ahead and let's the amount. Where's the feather? Okay, you can't feather a sky mask apparently. So let's just go ahead and delete this. We can do better than this. Delete mask 3. Let's use a create new mask. Let's use a linear gradient filter. Bring it down and go about like that. And now we will contrast and a little bit of dehaze. So this is what we've done. We went from there to there, from there to there. That was nice. Let's pull the saturation down just a touch in the sky. Just a touch. And let's give it some more contrast. That looks nice, but I think we need to lower the global contrast now. Okay. What's bothering me is this is right in the center. This right here, actually there's a lot of noise. I don't like this cloud layer. Right through there. This extra. I'm going to try to clone that out, see what happens. And I'm also going to increase the noise reduction because it is a little bit grainy at 100%. So let's go ahead and put this back up to like 45. Let that run. Put up to 55. Let that run. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. At 100% it was pretty rough. And then we said we're going to try to clone out that cloud line. Let's see what happens when we do this. let's take from there. Okay, that is terrible. Let's try refreshing this once, see if it gives him a better result. And that's even worse. Alright. So let's go ahead and delete this. No, I guess we'll just maybe leave it, or we take it to Photoshop. I'm not sure what you want to do. I mean, it was there. It's the way it was, so I guess we'll leave it. I just don't particularly love it, but it is the way it was. So the cloud shelf, cloud in the background that was catching more light. Actually, I don't like any of the clones that this did. That clone looks really awkward right there. Let's go back into the clone and reset all of our clones. Okay. Let's right click, edit in Adobe Photoshop. Let's do this in Photoshop where it's going to do a little bit better. Alright, let's use the spot healing brush tool, and we'll get rid of this out of our way. And first off, we'll take care of that guy, and that guy. Oops. That guy, and yield freighter. Let's increase the size a little bit and take care of this freighter in one swipe, and that looks terrible. And that looks better. For the sky right there. There we go. I'm going to leave the sky shelf or the cloud shelf. Let's just leave that the way it is because that's the way it was. Let's save that. Let's close out of this. Go back to Photoshop. We should be dealing with our edited version now. I wanted to do. Take down our global, well, let's leave the global contrast alone. It looks nice. So that is a finished picture. I'm going to look at it again tomorrow, but I think I'm going to call it for the moment here. I love these swirly, wispy clouds. It was a beautiful morning in April, and I forgot that one. Let me real quick. Forgot the reed. So we got that. There we go. Okay. And just like that, we have a nice picture of a heron standing in front of Bombay Hooks National Wildlife Refuge sunrise. And hope you liked the video, and I will see you again soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.